YouTube, how's it going? The GOAT House is back. Just over 2 weeks away to the NFL draft. I can't wait. We got all kinds of content on the way. And throughout the NFL draft and after, so hopefully you join us for that. Prospect ranking starting later this week. This video, going through some quarterback comparisons, not just the top quarterbacks, some of the middle round guys as well. They're kind of the bigger name guys here. These aren't my comparisons, but we'll talk about what that means exactly in a little bit. Play along in the comments, your comparisons if you agree with these. Should be a lot of fun here. Follow us on Twitter. Talking live during the NFL draft, constantly talking NFL in general. Fan voted mock draft going on there as well. Please subscribe to the channel. Check out walkthemock.com. Use code GOATHOUSE if you sign up there. Here's our Twitter. Again, fan voted mock draft. We're on the Raiders. See, we did all these. So you guys, a lot of you guys involved in this. Appreciate you playing along. I don't know what just happened. There we go. We got a battle here. We got a good battle going here for the Raiders. So 2 hours left. Maybe a little less by the time this uploads, but join in. This will create a video that I'll react to your guys' picks. So for this website, maybe some of you heard of this website, playerprofiler.com. I've used this website for a long time. It's just fun to look at. You don't have to have any takeaways. You can trust your own opinion. I think most of you do that, like myself, but it's pretty cool. It has a good amount of, different statistics, analytics out here. So it's pretty cool. So, Mac Jones, you see at the top here, best comparable to Joe Burrow, and this is why, I don't really like comparisons. I don't really like forcing comparisons myself, but why I like this website and why I thought it was worthy of making a video is because it's more than just an eye test. You see physical attributes, workout metrics, college and pro productivity, all of that efficiency, all of that combined. And I'm pretty sure, it's like kind of a computer that spits out the best comparable player. I kind of like that. I think that's pretty cool. It doesn't mean you have to agree with it. I'm not going to agree with a lot of them. I'm not a big comparison guy, but it's not just throwing a random name out there. That's why I thought it was pretty cool. And you see, you get all the workout metrics here. A lot of different numbers, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, Joe Burrow, Mac Jones, you do see some similarities. I've heard that comparison thrown out there before. Joe Burrow was definitely a better prospect. A little bit better footwork. Mac Jones got good footwork. Burrow, maybe a little more accurate, has more of that wild play. Mac Jones, a lot of success came from RPO. He did have success, other, types of passes, play action, etc. But yeah, Burrow the best, the better prospect, obviously. But you see some similarities. If there was a weakness to Joe Burrow, it was like, it was for an elite prospect, number one pick, you wish his downfield, a little more arm strength, could get that ball pushed further. Sometimes, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, whoever it was, had to kind of fight back to get the ball up. Sometimes, nitpicking when we're talking about the best player in the draft. But it's the same thing for Mac Jones. Sometimes he short arms some things a little bit. So some similarities there as well with the since they're good first round prospects, not too many negatives, So there's some similarities there. Let me know what your comparison is. I didn't really have one. Again, I'm not a person that has a lot of comparisons. If I have one, then I have one. I love it. I do see some similarities to Joe Burrow, but I do see people throwing out Kirk Cousins out there. Why would if the Niners take Mac Jones, why would they trade up for 3 for Kirk Cousins? Maybe they're thinking of more of as Joe Burrow. Well, right now you can view Kirk Cousins as better, but we know where Joe Burrow's ceiling is. It's a lot higher there, a lot of upside. So maybe if the Niners, we don't know for sure if the Niners are taking him, whoever takes him, maybe they view him like a Joe Burrow. Maybe that's where their head's at as well. There's a lot of teams that go off, the metrics and / analytics here, and that's, maybe what it's telling them as well. But the tape is the most important, obviously. Take a look at Trevor Lawrence. We get one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, Peyton Manning. And I guess you could kind of see it, the build, the frame, some similarities there. Peyton Manning's big thing was he can make all the throws, the sideline throws, where you need enough velocity on the ball to make that throw, like where not everyone could do it. Peyton Manning was kind of known for those throws, I thought. Trevor Lawrence as well. He can make those tough throws, Maybe Trevor Lawrence isn't the best deep passer in the class. He's damn good deep passer. Maybe he's not even the most accurate, but he can make those NFL throws that even quarterbacks in the NFL really struggle to make, a lot of starters. So that's the similarities there, but it's crazy to think about in this way because you see those similarities, you see the frame similarity, the prototype quarterback that maybe Peyton Manning helped build. You see that, but it's crazy because on top of that, Trevor Lawrence is way more athletic than Peyton Manning. So that's what makes a guy like Trevor Lawrence look even better when looking at it like this. Don't have any workout metrics though, so that would make sense. That actually makes sense. You think somebody a little more athletic would be the comparison, but the workout metrics doesn't look like they were used because he didn't run or anything like that. He just kind of threw for everybody. So it actually makes a little more sense. So if Lawrence didn't have his mobility, he would be Peyton Manning. But it shows how good a prospect is, how rare a prospect is, because you throw in that athleticism, which you don't really see the 6'6", 220. I think he's actually a little under that. I think he's 6'5", 213, 14, I want to say. Still, you don't really see the guys that athletic. He's sneaky athletic, too. Can actually break tackles, too. Very good runner. Justin Fields gets RG3. So maybe that's not maybe something you don't want to see, even though RG3 was a top-tier prospect for a reason. I think he could have been better if it wasn't for the injuries. Problem with RG3 on the field, I thought, in terms of his talent, very good with the deep ball. I thought the underneath, the simple throws, the layup throws, I thought he struggled for some reason. Throwing behind receivers into the dirt for some reason. It's kind of a weird problem for him. But he did have talent. And I guess it's hard to find a Justin Fields comparison because, when does a guy run 4.4s or they got 4.51 and can throw that well? I guess RG3 out of Baylor was somewhat similar to that. Sometimes it felt like RG3, he was a pass first guy, but sometimes I think his team always kind of wanted him to run first, was kind of pushing that. Justin Fields, we haven't really got that feel yet. Definitely feels like a pass first guy, even though RG3 was this time. Fields going to be a little more solid, obviously, build to him, but it's definitely a tough comparison. How do you find a guy like Fields? You don't really see a guy because he has to be fast enough. He has to have that arm strength. And I guess, you look at the accuracy for this draft class. You look at the accuracies over certain yards, 5 yards downfield, 10 yards downfield, over 10, 20, over 20. Justin Fields is the top of the list over that 10 range. We're talking the deep ball. He's towards the top of the list. I think Zach Wilson's at the very top. But then when we get to the under 10 yards, solid numbers, but kind of middle of the pack out of the guys that are in the first round. Maybe throw in a couple second rounders in there as well. So I guess that is somewhat similar to RG3 as well. So thought that was interesting. For me, Fields is a one-of-a-kind guy. He definitely came. For me, I don't really come up with a comparison. Trey Lance next. Matthew Stafford, we don't have the workout metrics. That's probably why, because Trey Lance is going to be more athletic. But based on everything else, it spits out is Matthew Stafford, which I guess is pretty impressive for Trey Lance because he has that arm talent, plus he has the athletic ability. I see people comparing him mainly because the style offense, a guy like Ryan Tannehill, but with better mobility. Ryan Tannehill actually can move, but Lance has better mobility, breaking tackle ability. But Stafford's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting. I don't really see similar, I guess somewhat similar place, not really in terms of the play style. Matthew Stafford and Lance actually does do a good job in sitting in the pocket, but Stafford's kind of that pure pocket passing quarterback. Lance is more of one than people give him credit for, but I think if we had metrics, it would probably give us somebody else. But another guy that feels like one of a kind. I've seen people compare him to Lamar Jackson. I think the only sense is that he's a very good runner. That's the only thing that makes sense there. Otherwise, I don't see Lamar Jackson at all, really. I've seen Steve McNair. I kind of like that one. We got to go not way back, but you kind of got to go far back for that one, I suppose. But I could see some similarities there. I think I like that one a little better. Zach Wilson, this is a good one. Johnny Manziel. It's not really a good one, actually, because obviously he didn't work out. Maybe it was off the field situations is the reason why he didn't work out when he did get his shot. Not much of a shot, but didn't look that great. But I guess maybe body types. Wilson's going to be a little longer, obviously. And, I get they get a that's the kind of knock on Wilson. He gets a little wild, Mechanics can look so good at one point, and then he'll kind of get a little wild and kind of throw up his back foot. I think that's kind of forcing home run plays, just the wild plays. That is where he's definitely similar to Manziel. I guess the way he moves around the pocket, outside the pocket, the way he throws the ball. I think mechanics are actually very, very similar. I think that's where it's at, and the way he acts in the pocket. But, Manziel at times felt like a run-first guy. Like he really, he either threw that home run ball, that wild ball, or he really did want to scramble and run around a whole bunch. Wilson doesn't do that. He'll escape pressure, he'll throw on the run, but he doesn't really look like a spaz too much. Sometimes Manziel look like a spaz, and I think that's what hurt him a little bit. Wilson does get a little wild, not in with his mechanics, not as wild as Johnny Manziel. He seems like a good kid off the field as well. So he's definitely the much better prospect. So people might get scared of that. And don't have workout metrics, but I don't think it would be that much different. Manziel may be a little more athletic, but Wilson's pretty damn athletic. That's definitely an interesting one, though, because as soon as that kind of pops in your head, you kind of go, oh, yeah, they kind of do some similar things there. But like I said, Manziel just gets a little too crazy, a little bit spaz-like, if you remember. But he was a good ball player out of Texas A&M, that's for sure. Davis Mills gets Landry Jones. So, yeah, maybe not something you want to see there. Similar builds. Yeah, Landry Jones is a hell of a quarterback out of Oklahoma. He just didn't wow enough. He didn't have that takeover potential, which you're definitely looking for quarterbacks. And that's funny because that's kind of my knock on Davis Mills. Why people are, some people are starting to talk about him sneaking in the first round. And I kind of pumped the brakes on that because he's accurate. He's got the build. I guess for a big guy, he can move a little bit, nothing crazy athleticism-wise. I compared him to Daniel Jones before, and I think Daniel Jones has better athleticism. Daniel Jones can move. So that doesn't really mean Mills has it. He has for his size, it doesn't really mean he's an athletic quarterback, He was a top recruit, though, and he doesn't have a lot of reps under his belt. He had injuries in 2016, 17, 18, so that's really not good, but maybe that can mean he's got potential to get that wow ability. So maybe that's what that means. But there are some similarities there to Landry Jones. I do think he's a better prospect. Landry Jones was kind of just kind of felt like a game manager type guy that at the same time can turn the ball over, so that kind of defeats that type of player. But he did work out, so there's a lot going into what pops out, why the computer maybe spits out Landry Jones. Kyle Trask is Dwayne Haskins, which isn't ideal. And once I saw that one, you start to see some similarities there. The more you watch Trask and the more you see Haskins in the NFL, it kind of feels like a one-read guy, a guy that's going to stare down his guy. Both guys maybe think they're a little more athletic than they actually are. They want to be able to move and throw on the run, and it's good that they can do those things at times, but they're trusting their feet a little too much. So some similarities in that sense. I guess the build as well. The athleticism, I guess, again. And then as soon as you took away, it's one game, but as soon as you took away those top-tier talented targets for Kyle Trask, you started to notice the one-read stuff a little more. You can't really get away with that much of the one-read. You can get away with it with the Kyle Pitts and Kadarius Toney. So there are some similarities there. What I do like is Trask, limited experience, and he did show he can get better. He can better his mechanics and his footwork. I do like he's patient. That's kind of the thing with Trask. Patience is his positive and negative at the same time, because there's a lot of quarterbacks that panic out there, and that causes bad play, and he stays calm and goes through his progressions, and he doesn't, if there's a guy a step away from him, ready to sack him, he stays calm and normal release. Nothing's really changed with his throwing motion, doesn't panic, and that's good, but sometimes he stays a little too patient, and that'll result in him getting sacked, and he'll get sacked in the NFL there. But you do start to see some similarities there. And Kyle Trask was once thought of as a first-round pick, not anymore. And Dwayne Haskins was a first-round pick, though. Maybe some teams kind of got scared of that type of player there. Kellen Mond that's a weird one here. Brett Rippon, who we actually saw get some action this year. That's a strange one to me. I thought Kellen Mond ran 4.59. They got 4.67. Maybe that was official. He looks a lot faster than 4.67 on the field. I thought the 4.59 came out. I'm like, I think he looks faster on the field when he plays. So I think he's more athletic than that. Definitely more athletic than Brett Rippon. He didn't do any other workouts, so that probably played a part as well. It's really not one that I'm seeing. I think it's mainly testing number on the 40, perhaps. I don't know what Brett Rippon ran exactly. In maybe body type, frame, build, all that. But it's not really what I'm seeing. Brett Rippon had a pretty strong arm, I guess. I just think Mond's just I just don't see it. I don't know. I like Mond a little more than that. And I really wanted to show Jamie Newman, but he didn't have one. Because I know people in the comments were going to say, where's Jamie Newman? He didn't have one. But we'll look up a couple other big name guys. I was thought about Ian Book and Sam Ehlinger, perhaps. Ian Book, Colt McCoy, that's a pretty good one, I think. That's pretty damn similar. Ian Book's that guy you want if I think if you got a rough offensive line. Notre Dame actually had a pretty good offensive line, but Ian Book has some pretty ridiculous pocket presence. It really, you talk about eyes in the back of your head, it is ridiculous. That is Ian Book. Like, he might be one of the best ever with that, which that doesn't make a quarterback, and that's why he's not going to be an early pick. He doesn't really have the downfield arm talent. He wants a guy to be wide open for him to throw him the ball. He kind of holds on to the ball way too long, but feeling pressure, at a ridiculous level. Like, it's funny because we talk about Ian Book. He's going to go 5th round probably at best. And but in terms of feeling pressure, pocket presence, avoiding sacks, knowing where to go in and out of the pocket, he's probably top tier in his class, which is it sounds ridiculous, but it's actually true. But that's really his game right now. He doesn't have too much else to it. But some similarities to Colt McCoy. But yeah, Ian Book could be a good backup for a team that has a really rough offense line. Maybe they're struggling within a year and their starting quarterback's getting hit a lot. I think you put Ian Book in, and I think he's a guy that he can be better than somebody that's better than him in a bad offensive line offense, if that makes sense. If the offense line's a disaster, he actually could look better than a guy that's definitely better than him. But if it's clean pocket, your typical NFL offense where you want it to be, there's going to be a lot of guys better than Ian Book, obviously. But I do like the Colt McCoy one. And I'm going to look up Sam Ehlinger. I have not looked at this one. This is going to be interesting. Chase Daniel. I don't know about that one either. Are they around the same size? Yeah, I thought Ehlinger was a little... Yeah, they're 6'1", 222. I thought he's a little bigger, but... Ehlinger looks more athletic. I guess he's not like a speed guy. He's more of a quickness, and he'll break a tackle. But I do think he's on the field. He's definitely more athletic than Chase Daniel. That's an interesting one. I guess in terms of passer, they're pretty similar. There's not a lot to love about Ehlinger as a passer. It does have some big playability. I think using his legs mainly here and there, but he should be in the same boat as Ian Book in terms of where he'll go. 5th round at best, maybe. So it'll be pretty interesting. But playerprofiler.com, that's the website. I mean, they got other positions, other players as well, but now you guys are free to kind of go to the website, if you didn't already know about it and look at it. It's pretty useful stuff, it's just fun to look at for me. I'm not going to base any of my rankings off this, but it's a very cool website, tells you a lot here. So I thought it was a pretty interesting video kind of going over these, and it's a lot to discuss in the comments. And you guys can take a look at the other positions, more quarterbacks if you want. We got plenty more NFL content on the way, starting to get into the big videos, the prospect rankings. We'll do a top 50 at one point, final mock drafts, fan voted mocks going on right now as well. And then the draft's right around the corner here. So we'll have you covered for that. Make sure you follow our Twitter. Very important. Subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.